This is Double O Direct, safe space for women with a woman host, music by women, only women guests, Saturdays. 2 hours in. Started at 10 a.m. I did. I want to thank Bernadette Loloju, CEO, Anti-FGM Board. I also want to thank Sadia Hussein, the CEO, Brighter Society Initiative, and Jill Clements, Deputy Irish Ambassador, not forgetting Ifra Ahmed of the Ifra Foundation. Please, please, please watch A Girl from Mogadishu. It should be on the YouTube, right? A Girl from Mogadishu. You need to watch that film. I was blown away when I watched it on Monday. Thank you, ladies, so much for the informative insights on the state of FGM in Kenya. You know, in as much as we've made strides, it was revealed that babies are being cut. Babies are being cut. Can you imagine? Those are the new strategies that are being used. Babies are being cut. Women are being cut during delivery. So we've come a long way, but we still have a very long way to go to ensure we eradicate FGM. Zero tolerance for female genital mutilation. But with me now is a woman I have wanted to interview for years, decades, millennia. No, not millennia. I am not a cat. But seriously, I wanted to interview her for a very, very long time. She's a performer, she's a cultural activist, and the founding executive director of the Godown Arts Centre. Joy Mboya, welcome to Double O Direct.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Lovely to be here. Lovely to be here.
I am beyond excited. I think when I was crafting how I was going to introduce you, nothing was giving it enough gravitas.
I think the millennium thing is a good one.
That's a good one.
Just it might be a vampire.
You, me, and Cher. You, me, and we're not aging. We refuse. Yes. So tell me, give me some background on how you came about founding the Godown Arts Centre. Give me some background, because I know you're an architect by education.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I think things are never straightforward. I think that's the great thing around having a perspective on life.
Yes.
And that, your journey can take routes that you may plan in high school, and then it goes a different way.
Yes.
So starting the Godown was not something that was actually in my life plan. I studied architecture and came back home, from the US, and was working with an architectural firm. But as all individuals are, they are, multi-interested, and I was interested in music, and I was interested in theatre.
Multi-talented is what she's looking for. Multi-interested, Nisisi.
Multi-interested.
Multi-talented. Yeah.
So, of course, you try to explore all of these things. And I think in exploring that, I had a really big interest in trying to see how those who are artists at heart can have an opportunity to also build careers and fulfill themselves through their creativity.
Yes.
So I started a small program that was called Fame.
Fame?
Yeah, it was.
How poignant.
I know. It was, picking off of that Fame movie.
Yes.
But it was really trying to work with high school kids who were going to be probably writers or actors or artists or musicians, and to say that it's okay to study those things in high school, and how can we begin to give you inspiration around making that your career path.
I'm going to backtrack just slightly.
Sure.
Here you are, Ivy League.
That's right.
All right. Architecture, you're working in an architectural firm, but then you're drawn towards high schoolers in the arts. Continue.
So then I sort of say, well, okay, this is interesting. How do I expand this program? And then a funder comes into the territory and sort of says, well, we're interested in supporting the arts. And this was the Ford Foundation, all of those many years ago.
Yes.
And of course, they were inundated with requests of everybody trying to support the arts in different ways. So I think the idea came up of creating a collective.
Yes.
And we hadn't had a precedent of this. I think the last time there was anything like this was probably 65, round about independence, when you had your Chemi and your, early Payapas. So we kind of said, well, where do we...
Yeah. Wow, that's a blast from the past.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we're sort of saying, how do we do this thing? And so we had to look around, and I was privileged enough to go look around and look at models and say, that doesn't work, that's not going to translate back home, and then try to see how, with others, because I wasn't alone, put together this thing that has now become the Godown.
Who owns the land that the Godown sits on?
So the Godown has a trust and a not-for-profit company, and the ownership of the land sits under the not-for-profit company.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just love everything about that.
Yeah.
So around what year was that when you thought, okay, we have a funder. We've gone out. We've identified something we think can work in Kenya. This is something that we need in Kenya. Give me some timelines of funding available, doors open to artists.
Yeah, so again, it's that whole millennium question.
Yes.
2002. And I think 2002 and thereabouts was really important for the country.
Yes.
I think that for those who are old enough, it was a moment of social and political change.
Yes.
You know, we were sort of saying voices need to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, the anthem, and I think for everybody, it was the unbloggable Gidi Gidi Maji Maji. You know, I think people
Definitely.
were finding themselves. And I think that there was an energy for those who are interested in what was happening in Kenya around how do we support this energy that is being propelled by creative expression, by creatives? How do we sort of expand the space of freedom of voice, democracy, so to speak?
I feel you're absolutely right, because even in the media landscape, that was around the time that we saw a lot more Kenyan voices get onto the airwaves and Kenyan music get onto the airwaves. I remember playing Isa. I remember playing
That's
Nameless. Right. I remember playing, Wahoo. And I love the fact that we were moving more towards what art could be globally to what art means for us locally. Continue.
No, absolutely. And in fact, it was the sort of time when FM also, FM radio all just sort of exploded. So there was a real space opening up for people to be able to do things that were creative.
Yes.
And that's when the Godown also found itself and began to, to think about what does it mean to be an art space in Kenya. And then discovering, of course, that we sit in a very isolated region and that there were artists in Uganda, artists in Tanzania, and we didn't know anything about them. So we sort of said, what does it mean to be an art space in East Africa? And how do we begin to create an East African creative community?
SpiceFM.